So it's that time of the year again when the stores are blasting our ears off with Christmas carols, people are in the final year-end push, and we're starting to look forward to 2017 and ask ourselves what the new year is going to offer us. But before I look forward, I want to look back and I want to reflect on 2016. And for me, it was the first year of my PhD, and I've learned quite a lot this year. So for today, I'm sharing with you 5 lessons on what it takes to be a first-year PhD student. So lesson number 1 is that you can never ever read too much. And I'm sorry to say, if you don't like reading, it's time to get out now while you still can. Because when you pursue your PhD, your success is entirely dependent on new ideas and novel insights. Your brain has to have that aha light bulb moment, and it has to be your moment. Nobody else can give it to you. But in order to have this light bulb moment, you have to have an understanding of what has come before and what other people have done. And the only way to accomplish this is to endlessly plow through the fields of scientific literature and read and read and read and read. This first year of your PhD is vitally important in gaining a feel for your field, understanding underlying principles, identifying new advancements so that you can see where you can fit into the field and what new ideas you can bring. Lesson number 2 is to record absolutely everything. Now, I'm not too sure if this applies to all PhD studies, but it definitely does to those in the biological sciences or any PhD where you're actively going out and collecting data. And I learned this lesson the hard way in the 2 years of my master's, because when you start your project, you're raring to go and you go out and you collect your biological specimens, and then when you get back, you excitedly peer through your samples and process them in the necessary fashion. But then 1 to 3 years down the line, when it actually comes to writing up your thesis, you sit there scratching your head thinking, hang on, how did I catch that fish? Or how much of my sample did I weigh out to analyze? Or my personal favorite, what did I do to my data before I analyzed it? And at the time, these things seem so obvious, but trust me, later on, you will forget these details. So as you go along, record absolutely everything, even if it may seem insignificant, and you will thank yourself later. So lesson number 3 is that there will be good days and there will be bad days. So here it is vitally important to remember that this is a marathon and not a sprint. There will inevitably be days where you feel like your brain has turned to mush and you feel like a hopeless human being and you ask yourself why in the world you registered for a PhD. But conversely, you'll have days where you feel like Superman or Wonder Woman and you can take on the world. And that's okay. You need to realize the bad days and maybe just take a step back. But then conversely, when you're having a good day, you need to take advantage of that and go with the flow and accomplish as much as you can while you're in a productive state. So lesson number 4 is that it is your time to take charge. A PhD is pretty much the first time in your academic career where you are solely responsible for your success or failure. Yes, you have your supervisor there to guide you along the way, but as they say, this is your show. And for me, I found this quite tricky because it requires a bit of a change in mindset. So previously, you always had your teachers or your lecturers or past supervisors that would teach you or impart knowledge onto you. But for your PhD, you're breaking new boundaries in research. So you don't necessarily have anybody there to teach you as such. Yes, as I've said, your supervisor is there to help you and guide you. But this is your project and it's your time to take charge, and you should put forward new ideas and maybe sometimes even disagree with your supervisor. So lesson number 5, our final lesson, is to build your community. A PhD can be a very isolating experience. You spend roughly 3 to 4 years working on a project that you are very interested in and you go very in depth into it. But there is nobody taking this class with you. So it's very important to have a community of people around you, people that you can talk to, who share the same interests as you, who are also doing their PhD. And for me, I found this very, very difficult because I am a correspondence-based student, which means I don't go into university, I don't have a lab that I work from. So while there are indeed pros to working from home, for example, I work in my pajamas 90% of the time, and my working hours are very flexible, and I can also pretty much work from anywhere. But the cons are that I miss out on these social interactions, and I can't incessantly chatter away about stingrays without people giving me that, here she goes again look. Or if I'm having a problem and I'm tearing my hair out, I can't just look over to the next person and say, hey, do you maybe have a solution for this? And in the absence of these things, you realize how important they are. And so my final piece of advice to you is to find your people and build your community, even if it's an online one like mine, and you will save yourself many instances of nearing insanity. So that's all the advice I have for you today. If there are any other PhD students out there who are watching, who have their own tips or pieces of advice, please leave them down in the comments below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more, please subscribe to my channel. Please share my video. And that's all I have for you today, so I hope you all have a happy day.